Tonight, mowed down by an out-of-control car, a 9-year-old killed, his father fighting for life in a Gold Coast tragedy.
The final mad campaign dash. The Premier blitzes the state while the LNP flags public service reforms.
Arrested for attacking an air attendant on an Air New Zealand flight, and he can't remember a thing.
Turkish airstrikes follow a terror attack in the nation's capital.
King of Kava, a traditional welcome for Charles and Camilla in Samoa.
And the top toys your kids will be begging for this Christmas.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Max Futcher and Sarah Greenhalgh.
Good evening. Straight to heartbreaking news out of the Gold Coast. A 9-year-old boy has lost his life after being hit by an out-of-control car.
He was riding a bike with his dad on the footpath when they were struck. Tonight, the little boy's father remains in a serious condition.
A mangled minivan metres from the e-bike police say it's just mowed down. A boy and his dad knocked off the tandem two-wheeler, mum riding behind, witnessing it all.
They were no doubt out enjoying some family time together, and this tragedy has struck their family.
The crash happened near Bayberry Lane, a few hundred metres from Robina Hospital at 6:15 last night. The 9-year-old's heart stopped beating by the roadside. An off-duty paramedic and other witnesses performed CPR, giving the boy a fighting chance.
They did a fantastic job in doing what they could.
Ambulance crews rushed him to hospital in a critical condition. He died this afternoon. His 46-year-old father suffered serious injuries. Both had been wearing helmets.
Extremely tragic, the circumstances for sure for everyone involved.
Witnesses have told police that leading up to the impact, they saw the Honda Odyssey cut off another driver and accelerate.
And then shortly after that struck the centre traffic at Auden before spearing across both lanes of traffic and striking the cyclists.
People home down here all the time, and I know the police can't be everywhere, but something's got to be done.
The driver has since been tested for drugs and alcohol. Police now working to establish if bad driver behaviour is to blame. Michael Hammond, 7 News.
The LNP has revealed its final announcement ahead of Saturday's election with major reforms to the public service to help pay for more than $7 billion in promises.
Meanwhile, the Premier has begun a last-ditch campaign blitz, starting on the Sunshine Coast.
Feeling the heat in their last-ditch blitz.
Is that your conscience, mate? Is that on your conscience?
I'm the independent here. The ones you're trying to keep out.
The Premier fleeing a pre-poll booth after this outburst from independent candidate Mike Jessup, who's facing criminal charges for alleged stalking and weapons offences.
Stephen, isn't it? Yeah. Steve. I've spent 8 weeks in jail this July. On remand, I'm out, obviously.
In Rocklea, a warm welcome from fresh food vendors.
I voted for you already.
Looking for a fresh start.
Hoppa!
As the Shadow Treasurer is rolled out to reveal how the LNP's $7 billion in election commitments will be paid for.
We will create a new agency within the Treasury portfolio called Queensland Government Consulting.
Claiming the $87.5 million agency will reform the public service, saving $6.8 billion by slashing private consultants.
There's not $6.8 billion worth of contractors and consultants in the public sector. The only way this money can be saved is by sacking staff in our hospitals, in our schools and in our police stations.
We're not cutting consultants, we're flattening the trajectory of their growth.
But struggling to justify the missing numbers for smaller pumped hydro projects.
I can't deal with projects over which there is no knowledge. It will take some years to get any of these projects ready to go.
Flagging the private sector will do the heavy lifting.
Absolutely, fully costed and fully funded.
Their energy plan, whatever it is the definition of crisis and chaos.
Costings for the Olympics review also unaccounted for.
That's not in the book for now.
The LNP's debt projection just under $172 billion.
We're stabilising debt, Lydia. We're stabilising, yes, but the budget we've been given, we have stabilised it with our election commitments.
He's got an enormous amount of money to find if he's not going to borrow if it's all built on savings.
Also allocating $40 million to start planning a direct rail line from Caloundra to Maroochydore, confident it can be up and running by 2032. As David Crisafulli promises, projects will stay on track.
Will you sack ministers for cost blowout? Ministers will be held accountable for the things that they are outlined to do.
He says ministers who don't perform will be sent to the backbench, while also claiming it won't be a case of musical chairs.
I'm not going to play pop quiz politics with every person and every KPI.
The Premier vowing he'll battle until the bitter end.
Win as many votes as I can, talk to as many Queenslanders as I can, and expose David Crisafulli as much as I can.
This election is going to be close, and we haven't. No. No.
Still playing the underdog. Well, the LNP won't be relying on borrowings for its promises, but its promise to build a direct rail line to Maroochydore won't start construction until after 2028, according to the paperwork. That's only 4 years before the Olympics. Then there are those black holes for these smaller pumped hydro projects, carrying a mystery price tag for taxpayers. David Janetsky has committed to having the answers in his first budget if he becomes the Treasurer. The public service shake-up would require an estimated 40 to 50 staff for that new agency. The opposition believes they'll be able to do the work of private consultants such as lawyers, IT workers and accountants, all of this triggering a fresh fight from unions.
2 more sleeps. Thanks, Marlena. And 7 News will bring you every moment of Vote 2024 live. Join us and our panel of political insiders from 5 p.m. Saturday right here on 7.
Now to some more breaking news now, and a man has been charged with the murder of his mother on Brisbane's north side. Anna McGraw is live with the exclusive details. Anna, this man was formally charged with grievous bodily harm.
Well, Sarah, this incident took place in August, but following investigations, police have today arrested and charged a 29-year-old man with the murder of a 61-year-old woman. Now, the pair were allegedly involved in an altercation inside their Upper Kedron home where the woman suffered critical head injuries. It's understood she spent almost 2 weeks at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, but died from her injuries there on August 26. But Sarah, we'll have more details on this developing story tomorrow as that 29-year-old man faces court for the first time.
Thank you, Anna. A Gold Coast man has been arrested over a Logan house fire. Flames engulfed the property on Price Court at Crestmead around 1:30 this morning. 2 people managed to escape unhurt.
I heard a car and somebody got out of the car and they beeped at them and stuff, and then they took off down the road, and then out of nowhere the whole house was on fire.
Police set up a crime scene once the fire was out. They're talking to a 24-year-old man but haven't yet laid charges.
Turkey has launched airstrikes on Kurdish targets in Iraq and Syria after terrorists launched a deadly attack on a key government facility. 5 people were killed and more than a dozen injured after an armed man and woman went on a rampage.
On the outskirts of the Turkish capital, a terror attack begins. An explosion rocks the defence facility, then gunfire commences. Seen on security vision, 2 armed attackers, 1 male, 1 female, exit a taxi after killing the driver and begin firing at unarmed workers. Continuing their assault, they enter the building, rifles still shooting. It's inside more innocent lives are lost before authorities react. Special operations moved quickly, and within hours the 2 attackers were neutralised, but not before 5 people were killed and more than 20 injured. The target was Turkish Aerospace Industries, a state-owned defence facility that manufactures military aircraft. No one has yet claimed responsibility, but Turkish authorities have their suspect, a Kurdish separatist group. We have a strong opinion that this is the PKK terrorist organisation, the Interior Minister confirmed. There had been recent rumours of peace talks between the Turkish government and Kurdish separatists. But now, Turkish jets are bombing Kurdish sites in response to the attack. In London, Joel Dry, 7 News.
A coroner has called on Brisbane City Council to upgrade all pedestrian and traffic light intersections following the death of Max McDowell at a Woolloongabba bus station. The 20-year-old cyclist was hit by a bus that was turning right at a pedestrian crossing in 2021. Following an inquest earlier this year, Coroner Donald McKenzie found neither Max nor bus driver Andrew Rodnicki was at fault. The fatal accident was a result of dangerous blind spots and turning signals, with the coroner recommending council fit all buses with camera mirrors. The Prime Minister is tonight facing heat from Pacific leaders who say they're facing a death sentence from fossil fuel emissions. Anthony Albanese landed in Samoa after the King and Queen, who were given quite the welcome.
Comfortable in the land of kings, a wet and wild welcome for their majesties in Samoa. King Charles at home at a ceremony reserved for monarchs. Meeting chiefs and villagers in Samoa ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, the King's first as sovereign. A warm and traditional welcome for the King and Queen, showered with gifts, an entire pig carried by chiefs, dried fruit and flowers too.
May the good Lord be with you, and may you have a pleasant stay here in Samoa.
Queen Camilla championing gender equality.
Women will turn their hands successfully to any task that must be done.
The King's lifelong passion, action on climate change, top of the agenda. This is the first time a Pacific Islands nation has hosted the Commonwealth, and leaders here have been quick to tell our Prime Minister he needs to do much more to combat climate change and the rising threat of sea levels.
To put it plainly, it is a death sentence for us, Tuvalu, if larger nations continue to increase their emission levels.
Climate change is, of course, an existential threat.
The Foreign Minister committing to change.
We're up for that.
Anthony Albanese landing in a tropical storm of his own.
Isabel Mullen joins us from the Samoan capital, Apia. Izzy, this summit comes as China issues a warning to Australia.
It does, Sarah. Good evening. China has said we are hypocrites and should stop talking about their human rights abuses when we are guilty of our own. Now, this is deliberately timed by Beijing, who are looking closely at what happens at this summit. Anthony Albanese is trying to strengthen ties with Pacific leaders while he is here, something that China would also like to do. He has said that we need to agree to disagree with China as contest in this region really heats up. Guys.
Isabel Mullen there. Lydia Thorpe has defended her place in Parliament despite now claiming she never swore an oath. The senator says she said hairs and not heirs when swearing allegiance to Queen Elizabeth. But constitutional lawyers say she also signed an oath.
That's what the test roll does. It tests your allegiance by requiring you to swear to that in writing.
The very issues that I raised with the King, I need to bring those into the Parliament of this country.
Senators are understood to be exploring legal options to discipline Ms Thorpe.
Well, the Broncos' new era is upon us and we'll be seeing a lot less of a club legend. Ned Baum is live at Red Hill. Ned, Alfie Langer won't be on the sideline next season.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. Alfie's been part of the football department for the better part of 20 years. We've often seen him running water, relaying messages on game day, even putting out the cones and setting up drill at training throughout the week. But that won't be the case under new coach Michael Maguire. He's actually being transitioned into more of an ambassadorial, dare I say, corporate role, but those details are not yet finalised. Now, I have been told that this was not solely a decision by Madge as he's come into the club. Instead, this was floated as part of the end of season review, the post-mortem, if you will, that Alfie may be better served at different portions of the club. I'm also told that Alfie was involved in those decisions and is looking forward to the next step. Now, it's worth noting he is very popular among the playing group, but this could also be a message from Madge that they're not here to make friends, they're here to win games of footy.
I wonder what the fans will say. All right, thanks for that, Ned. Donald Trump's former chief of staff has dropped a bombshell 12 days out from the US election. The retired Marine says when Trump was in the White House, he remarked, "I need the kind of generals that Hitler had."
He's long said he plans to be a dictator on day one. And today, Donald Trump's own former chief of staff said he has all the characteristics of one.
He's certainly an authoritarian and admires people who are dictators. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist.
That included praise of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, according to retired Marine General John Kelly.
He commented more than once that, that Hitler did some good things too.
Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged and unstable.
Vice President Harris using the general's claim to sound the alarm for undecided voters.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Donald Trump said, why aren't my generals like those of Hitler's?
Tonight, though, blunt denials from Donald Trump.
This will be America's new golden age.
His camp accusing General Kelly of beclowning himself. He's suffering Trump derangement syndrome, a spokesman shot back. Still, it'll be too late to change the minds of a record 20 million early voters across America. And now, just days out from polling, House Democrats are also accusing the Trump campaign of failing to commit to a transfer of power process. These are long-set precedents ensuring that transition is smooth and peaceful. In Chicago, David Woywood, 7 News.
Excitement is revving up on the Gold Coast as the supercars prepare to take over the city this weekend. Paige Van Luncheren is at a sunset signing in Surfers Paradise. Paige, it's a chance to meet the fat stars.
It is, Max. The drivers have been down here since around 5 p.m. talking to fans and signing autographs for them. There's also a live DJ and drift cars, a small taste of the exciting entertainment set to come this weekend. Now, I'm with a mega fan right now. Her name's Kiani. Kiani, how long have you been waiting for this event?
I've been waiting 6 months, like such a long time. I love coming to the Gold Coast track. It's great.
What do you love about the supercars?
I love just the excitement, energy. It's just so much fun to go to.
Well, this isn't the first time we've seen the drivers out and about on the Gold Coast. Today, I even joined them on a jet boat. Practice officially kicks off tomorrow before 2 days of high-octane racing action.
Big few days ahead. Thanks for that, Paige. Now onto the weather, and Tony, a few storms rolling across the southeast.
Yes, Max, it took a while to get going, but the Sunshine Coast has seen the bulk of the activity so far today, and this is what it looked like just before smashing Beerwah late this afternoon. Very impressive. Here's how it played out. Big storms inland, then moving towards the coast in a cluster before it all gained some steam over the Sunshine Coast. Warnings were issued briefly, but have since been cancelled for that area as it all clears offshore. And more storms possible in the southeast overnight. I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thanks, Tony. We'll see you soon. Chaos in the air. An unruly passenger attacks a flight attendant. Those details next.
Also, the major police raid on a Logan drug lab.
A shock admission from one of the country's biggest radio stars.
And we'll road test the top 100 toys for Christmas.
As Queensland decides, turn to Seven's Screen of Dreams for the results first. With unprecedented insight from political editor Mark Riley and Seven's panel of political insiders. On election night, watch 7 News, live from 5 o'clock.
Police have uncovered a drug lab in a Logan garage. 4 men and a woman have been charged with a string of offences, including using chemical flasks and distilling chambers to produce the illegal substances. 2 kilograms of ice, 5 litres of methamphetamine oil, 3 firearms and a large amount of cash was seized by detectives. A mid-air struggle has forced a flight from Perth to Auckland to make an emergency landing in Melbourne. The passenger, at the centre of a takedown, faced court today, telling 7 News he can't remember a thing.
Pinned to the floor of the galley, one passenger is held down by another. A crew member has just been injured and the flight from Perth to Auckland is diverting to Melbourne. That's where federal police get on to drag the allegedly drunk and unruly man off. A flight most passengers won't forget, except one. Run us through what happened.
I can't remember.
Swaylin Barton-Cooks is 23 and lives in Perth. The New Zealand national is charged with assaulting a crew member. The maximum penalty, 20 years jail. What happens next?
Life's changing. Wake up. Be a better person.
Air New Zealand calls the incident unsettling. Its cabin crew member had minor injuries. Once free of its allegedly disruptive passenger, the plane took off from Melbourne again, landing in Auckland just 90 minutes behind schedule. Mr Barton-Cooks is now a long way from home at a court in Melbourne's outer suburbs.
You guys know where the nearest train station is?
I don't. He's back in court in Melbourne Monday. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
Radio superstar Jackie O has made an emotional confession about her battle with drugs. She revealed she secretly checked into an American celebrity rehab clinic in late 2022 after she would at times consume a daily cocktail of dozens of sleeping pills, Panadeine Fort tablets and alcohol.
I've voluntarily enrolled in a 12-step program there to treat the substance dependence and drug addiction I've been able to keep secret for 3 long and painful years.
The Kiss FM co-host read the details from her new book set for release next Tuesday. A world-famous photographer whose art raises eyebrows. He's returning to Brisbane. How you can join the Story Bridge shoot next.
Also, we're one-on-one with Stephen Miles. No question is off limits.
The moment a driver found out the hard way about the dangers of sinkholes.
And a step back in time as a new exhibition opens at the Queensland Museum. Well, last night we had an extended conversation with opposition leader David Crisafulli. Tonight, it's the Premier's turn.
I asked Stephen Miles about the key issues that have shaped this election campaign as we close in on polling day. Premier, thanks for your time. Why is Labor running a misinformation scare campaign on the issue of abortion?
Well, g'day Max. This is an important issue for many women and I think they'll be pretty confused about what the LNP's position is. With me, I've been really clear. I was the health minister that decriminalised abortion. I've expanded access to women's health services and just this year expanded access to reproductive health services.
Now, the opposition leader has repeatedly said that he will rule out any changes to the abortion laws. What do you make of that?
Well, that's not what he's said, Max, is it? He's said that they're not part of his plans. And that's what's created this doubt.
Well, just today and yesterday he said he had ruled it out. He said, I've ruled that out under a government I lead.
Well, he can't rule that out. We know the Katters are going to introduce a private member's bill. We know that the LNP will have a conscience vote. So if they have a majority of their members will vote for that bill. So that's just the facts of it, Max.
So he's lying. He says you're lying. Is this where we've landed with this campaign?
Well, no, I think if people want to be certain, if they want to elect a leader who they know will stand up for women's rights, then I'm that person. There is ample doubt about what the LNP would do.
All right, moving on to youth crime. It has been one of the most prominent issues in this campaign. Could youth crime cost you this election?
Well, look, clearly it's an important issue and community safety is really important to people. I've made it a real focus of my work since I became the Premier. We have that new community safety plan in place that is delivering more police and better police resources as well as comprehensive early intervention programs that are preventing crime before they occur, and the data from the police is proof that that plan is working. Now's not the time to throw out a comprehensive plan that is working and replace it with just a four-word slogan.
Now, you'd see the same polls that I see. I'm sure you have your own internal polling, but the polls that I've seen show you heading for defeat. Will you stay on as opposition leader, or at least the member for Murrumba?
I certainly intend to stay on as the member for Murrumba. Other plans will depend on what the outcome of the election is. Right now I'm absolutely focused on winning a majority of seats because I think that's what would be in Queensland's best interests.
All right, well, Peter Beattie says that you just didn't get enough time. So should Anastasia Palaszczuk have gone sooner, do you think?
I'll leave that commentary to others, but I've had 10 months in this role. I've tried my best to make every minute count. We've done so much in that 10 months, and now I've outlined my plan for the next 4 years, and I'm asking for Queenslanders for a mandate in my own right, because I believe I can do so much more for our great state.
Well, you've certainly made cost of living a major plank for your campaign. 50-cent fares, free lunches, state-owned petrol stations. You've really thrown the kitchen sink at this, but after 9 years, are Queenslanders still listening?
$1,000 rebate.
Correct,
$1,000
yes.
rebates,
The list goes on.
off Reg, though,
You've thrown it all at the
fair
wall.
play
Is it
vouchers,
sticking?
Free TAFE. It's certainly helping. I think it's helping families with their household budgets, and that's really what I've set out to do this year. We've funded it with those additional coal royalties that the coal companies are paying to us, and I think that's a fair deal.
Okay, let's say you wake up Sunday morning and you're still Premier. What's the first thing you do? Maybe a weight session on TikTok?
I think I'll get straight back to work. That's my approach. I think people have seen how determined I am to work every day for Queenslanders, and if I get the chance to keep doing it, that's what I'll be doing Sunday.
All right, Stephen Miles, best of luck. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Max.
Israel's offensive on Lebanon is showing no sign of slowing. The latest target, Beirut's southern suburbs, pounded in a wave of explosions on what local reporters called a very violent night. At least 6 buildings were hit in that attack. An Argentinian driver has found out the hard way just how destructive sinkholes can become. He was driving through a storm, unaware of the gaping hole ahead of him, and fell in. Thankfully, the 47-year-old wasn't seriously hurt.
The Story Bridge will be closed in the early hours of Sunday morning for an installation like no other. Thousands of people are getting their kit off for a mass nude photo shoot, and it's all in the name of art.
This man wants to see you naked.
I'm still excited about this work, and we have such a short time on this planet, you might as well obsess on something.
New York artist Spencer Tunick is renowned for his spectacular mass nude photo shoots in iconic locations around the world. The Opera House, Bondi Beach and Melbourne, but never on a bridge and never in Brisbane.
It's very difficult to gather over 4,000 people, and it only happens once every 5 years or 10 years.
Around 5,000 people have already registered to get in the buff and pose for a new piece of art for Brisbane's Melt Festival.
The bridge will be closed from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sunday the 27th of October.
But there are still more volunteers needed in what's hoped to set a new naked record in Australia.
You're part of the creation of an artwork as opposed to just going to a white-walled museum and looking at art. You're actually the art.
So while I might be wearing nude, I'm told you actually have to be in the nude if you want to take part. Come on, be brave. It's for art. As for where to find your clothes afterwards, that's been thought through too.
We have sort of designated clothes drop areas, marked them out with letters, sort of like a car park.
There'll also be a bar open for those needing some Dutch courage. Katrina Blowers, 7 News.
Good luck to all of them. A slice of ancient Egypt has arrived at the Queensland Museum with more than 250 artefacts on display as part of a new exhibition opening tomorrow.
It's quite amazing to see the contribution that civilisation has made to architecture, art, writing, and it's also just fantastic to see artefacts that describe the daily life of people.
Tickets are on sale now. The exhibition is on until August next year.
Just ahead, the Brisbane business transforming lives. The former inmates given a second chance to rebuild.
The moment a bumbling gunman sets himself on fire.
The Aussie banks using AI to fast-track home loan approvals.
And on tonight's Sunny Side, the retirees coming together to help our littlest fighters. An alleged gunman involved in a suspected gangland shooting has set himself alight while trying to torch a getaway car. Police released this new dashcam video of the pair accused of firing around 10 shots at an underworld figure in Sydney. The 19-year-old victim had been warned by authorities to leave the city. His alleged attackers are still on the run tonight.
Almost half of all adults released from prison are likely to be jailed again within 2 years. But a Brisbane food delivery business is giving a second chance to former inmates wanting to rebuild their lives with staggering results.
Mum of two, Rebecca Fontaine, has turned her life around since her release from jail.
I can provide a roof over my head for my son, and I can be a healthy, stable role model for my son, and we can start to break down those cycles.
She credits it all to Fruit to Work, a food delivery business transforming the lives of newly released prisoners.
The idea is to have a quality product, quality service, and reintegrate those people back into the community.
Here at Archerfield, they start packing boxes of fruit, milk and other essentials at 3 a.m. and deliver them to local workplaces. But it's much more than a job.
We run a program called Building a Better You, which consists of 24 modules, run by our own in-house forensic psychologist. We run a financial model.
The social enterprise is nominated for the Lord Mayor's Business Awards on October 25. While it's only been operating in Brisbane since January, it's transformed 150 lives interstate.
The success of the program is proven in the statistics. In the last 8.5 years, not one person has returned to prison.
I have been through the system myself. This job has been life-changing for me. I have seen it change many lives over the years.
Including Rebecca's.
The future's really bright. The future's probably better than I could ever have imagined.
Thank you very, very much.
Samantha Heathwood, 7 News.
Our very own Olympic champion, Sally Pearson, has received one of the nation's highest honours, inducted into the prestigious Sport Australia Hall of Fame.
There's no bigger accolade in Australian sport, really. Your name's going to be up with some legends of the past, which I think is really special, but it's also like, wow, that chapter of my life now is really closed.
Surfing legend Mick Fanning is also joining the exclusive honour roll. Congratulations to Sally. And Sport Time now. Ben, a Lion star could be making some big bucks on the open market.
Yeah, Cam Rayner, Sarah, g'day everyone. But will he test his value on the open market? That's next. Plus, potential Test teammates back. A boy from Brisbane to claim Australia's opening vacancy. He's the Test smoky from Brisbane who's fast emerging as a serious contender to fill our vacant opening spot against India. International teammates have gone into bat for Nathan McSweeney, telling 7 News the 25-year-old's form is hard to go past.
Australian keeper Alex Carey helped break Queensland hearts in this week's Shield match, but he wasn't alone. Nathan McSweeney complimented the Gloveman's unbeaten century with a classy 72.
A very calm young leader. Just goes about his business, trains really hard. He's got all the skills against the new ball, against spin, able to up the scoring rate if it needs to be done.
The Heat skipper left Queensland to further his career. Now captain of South Australia, the PM's 11 and next week's Australia A side, the former Bulls not only impressing selectors with a ton and 2 50s at 97 this season.
He works really hard on his game. He's pretty close with Marnus and not too dissimilar in the way they go about it. Every challenge that's come his way, he's been able to step up and do really well.
What about the challenge the Heat face? Last week, Nadine de Klerk was part of the South African team, knocking Australia out of the Women's T20 World Cup. Now she's teammates with Grace Harris.
Nah. Noodle and I have been good mates for a little while. I'm not exactly the old, but we're friends now, and you know, you're okay for friends to win. It's still competitive, but I can leave the competition on the field.
It's quite cool, actually. It's always great to see each other, even if you're coming up against each other. So, but this time around, we're obviously on the same side, and hopefully we can lift the trophy this time around.
That starts Sunday in Adelaide's season opener.
Good on you, Gracie. Well, it is one of League's great comebacks, but Angus Crichton has one last box to tick. Starting the season in reserve grade, the 28-year-old fought back to win the Dally M Back Row of the Year and Wally Lewis medal. Now he wants a stake at Green and Gold glory.
He's won premierships, origins and World Cups, but every time Angus Crichton puts on the green and gold, he still gets the same feeling.
It's always such an honour to be back in the green and gold, and representing your country, you sort of got to pinch yourself to, these are the sort of moments you dreamed of as a kid.
It's been a remarkable journey for the Roosters star to get back into the Kangaroos setup. He started the year in New South Wales Cup after taking a break for mental health and ended up playing Origin and finals. A Pacific Championship victory would be the cherry on top.
I'm proud of myself and I'm thankful to my friends and my family that helped me get back here. I'm definitely keen to try and find another gear.
For Mitch Barnett, this test match is very personal. His career has gone to another level since joining the Warriors, but come Sunday, friendships will take a back seat when he takes on some of his teammates.
I'm this weekend looking to get the win, so yeah, we're just ready to go.
Been visualising him running straight at me at some point during the game.
Jaleesa Rapps, 7 News.
He's one of next year's hottest free agents, but leaving the Lions isn't on Cam Rayner's radar. The former #1 draft pick wants to remain a one-club player and help forge Brisbane's second dynasty.
He's the big fish rivals would love to land, but it'll take something special to lure Rayner away.
You know, Benny, about how I feel about this club. I love this club. They've given me the opportunity to fulfil my dream, and hopefully I can play here for as long as I can.
And while Brisbane's fighting for flags, Cam can't see the Lions being carved up.
Stay together for as long as we can and keep this premiership window open as long as we can. The group's super hungry now, and you know, you want to do it now for blokes like Link and Darcy, who missed out last year through injury, and we've got new players coming in.
And have 50-plus goals per season to find. That's the scoring void left by Joe Danaher.
Opens up the door for a couple of us to get a little bit more room in the forward line, so we might feel a bit happy. You don't know what you have until you see him perform a little bit, and you know, I'd be lying if I thought Logan would come out and play the way he did this year.
The women also have a huge gap to fill in the forward line, if only for Sunday's Swans clash with Dakota Davidson in concussion protocols.
I've had to go without her before, and we'll just have to rejig a few things to get the look that we want.
Mitch Crone, 7 News.
He's talking like he's retiring, but Mark Winterbottom still won't say the R word as he gears up for the Gold Coast 500. Thomas Randell crashed Frosty's press conference to congratulate him on a 21-year career, but as recently as Bathurst, the 2015 champ, hoped to be back, but he's confirmed he's been unable to secure a full-time ride.
Just to say goodbye on my terms and do it the way I wanted it to be done, and going to enjoy these last couple of rounds and get out of the way and no tears, just try and get a good result.
Winterbottom's last win on the streets of Surfers was back in 2011. Wins, an attractive style and a top 10 ranking. They're Ellie Carpenter's non-negotiables for the next Matilda's coach. Friendlies against Switzerland and Germany under interim Tom Samani are a chance to reset.
This is the start of a new cycle. He's all in with us, 100%, and I think that's important to have that right from the get-go.
How good is that? Watch it over and over and over.
Very impressive. Thank you, Van. A quick check of finance now, and the ASX 200 has closed down almost 10 points. WiseTech led a tech sell-off before the company's CEO stood down after the closing bell. Excuse me, $1 Australian is currently buying 66.48 US cents.
There's a new push to get more Australians into their own homes, and this time it's being led by the banks.
Some big players, including NAB, want lending rules eased to get more applicants across the line, with more spending power too.
Big banks with a big idea to unlock the nation's housing market.
This could give more buyers a leg up when it comes to purchasing their first home.
Most loans are currently priced around 7%, but banks are required to stress test borrowers in case rates rise, adding an extra 3%, which locks many applicants out. A parliamentary inquiry into home ownership today told bringing down that borrowing buffer would
allow first home buyers to be able to compete for houses where they want to live.
Lenders also weighing up a shake-up of how they apply.
AI is definitely becoming a part of a home loan industry.
Trialling the use of artificial intelligence to verify and categorise complex documents. What takes a human 45 minutes to read could take a machine 5.
Thousands of jobs in the finance sector are under threat from AI.
A recent study showed more than half of Australians are uncomfortable with AI assisting in their mortgage application. 15% wouldn't allow it, while the same amount said they're in favour of it, most of them young first home buyers, who mortgage brokers say need the human touch.
They sort of come to you and they don't know a lot about the journey.
Amelia Brace, 7 News.
Choosing Christmas toys just got easier. An army of tiny helpers has put this year's top picks to the test. The details are next.
And a few more drops of rain around overnight, but how long will it last? I'll have the forecast
after the break.
Christmas is creeping closer, if you can believe it, and festive wish lists are looking long. To make shopping easier, Amazon has unveiled its top 100 toy list, picked out by kids themselves who know the importance of play.
Tiny tester Alice is taking toy duties very seriously.
I want to get 2 corners now.
One of 9 little legends reviewing Amazon's top 100 toy list. Helping big kids tackle the gift-giving grind by testing out this year's must-haves, including an interactive kid camera, $79, Barbie unicorn set, $88, and Puny Roon's virtual pet, $49. But there was a clear standout.
It's a fart gun.
For $49, it shoots out rings of fog, lights up, has 15 different sounds, and emits a smell. Every parent's favourite combination.
Every time we want to play with it, to Mum and Dad tells us to play with it outside.
It is incredibly stinky. However, the kids have had a ball playing with that one.
If you're looking to give that one a wide berth, there are plenty of other budget-friendly buys.
We've got a whole range of toys that are under $25.
Well, who better to test these presents than the kids, giving uninspired parents some ideas for Christmas, which is right around the corner.
Some of these toys will be on sale during our Black Friday sale event.
Keeping the kids and wallet grinning. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Weather time now. Here's Tony.
Thank you, Max. A sultry old night and day across the southeast today before it broke to a few storms. This shot from Deception Bay just as that sun sent temperatures climbing. A bit more cloud for other areas this morning, including from Broadbeach on the Gold Coast here. Still, always nice to start the day on the sand. Now check out these minimums, 22 in Brisbane and Coolangatta, with a number of other spots staying up in the 20s. Then inland spots were hottest through the day, 34 in Greenbank. Now storms swept through the course of the afternoon. Severe storm warnings were issued for the Sunshine Coast briefly before it cleared offshore. This evening, that band of storms continues north towards the Capricornia and Wide Bay, with warnings still current for damaging winds. And we could also see some more unsettled weather building over northern New South Wales and heading up into southeast Queensland tonight with the passage of this trough. Around the country tomorrow, nothing too dramatic. Sydney has a slim chance of a shower, mild on 21 degrees, cold in Melbourne and Hobart. Now back to northern Queensland, a possible afternoon shower in Weipa, then dry everywhere else. Mostly sunny tops of 31 or 32 on the east coast. Heading south, high fire dangers across the board and storms still affecting coastal areas through the night, then likely clearing by sunrise and sunny skies through the day. In the southeast, we might also be woken by a few overnight rumbles, then clearing to blue skies and slightly cooler tomorrow, 29 in Redcliffe. Still warm overnight though, 19 up to 30 degrees in North Lakes and Chermside. Boaties, early westerlies, then watch for a strong southerly change of Moreton Bay into the afternoon, earlier for Gold Coast waters. So in Brisbane, a few drops on the roof tonight, clearing as the sun comes up to a beautiful sunny Friday, 20 up to 30 degrees. Staying mostly dry on the weekend, possible shower, nothing much in it. And if you're taking part in the Spencer Tunick photo on Sunday morning, blokes are not too humbling, minimum of 18 degrees. In Ipswich, also dry for most of the weekend, 26 Saturday for the election, 27 degrees on Sunday. Now onto the Gold Coast, the next peak in wet weather could come late Sunday night, but more likely an increase in showers, maybe even a possible storm on Monday. Sunshine Coasters, much the same. The worst of the wet weather should stay away for the weekend before building from Monday. But in the meantime, well, we will need to watch for a few drops tonight. And Benny, also nice to see you got the memo on the tie today.
What's going on?
Matching.
One of us is going to have to leave.
You'll both be at the Story Bridge on Sunday anyway. Before we go, here's a look at a special report we have for you tomorrow night. Of course, First, we've got the sunny side, and the Gold Coast retirement community is echoing to the clack of knitting needles. Residents crafting blankets for the homeless and beanies and bears for preemie babies. 81-year-old Christine Dale says she can knock out a beanie every night.
Since I was 5 years old. It's just something I've always done. It keeps your fingers working.
If anyone wants to volunteer, Pam and Christine say they're happy to teach, and if there's a good news story happening, we would love to know about it. Please email sunnyside@7.com.au.
One beanie a night, that is impressive, Christine.
Super fast, and what beautiful women.
Yeah.
And that is all from us this Thursday. Thank you so much for your company.
From all the team, have a good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.